Hey, welcome to a new episode of Live on the Edge podcast. I have Kirk Davis with CAMPS, that's Center for Advanced Manufacturing in the Puget Sound, joining us. Kirk, hey, thanks for joining the show today.
Gosh, it is great, Adam, and this is turnaround from the time I interviewed you, and you were one of my first interviews, and so this is great.
Yeah. So thanks for joining. So for the viewers out there that don't know camps, can you give us a high overview? And I got to tell you, I'm biased because I love camps. I've been a part of it for almost since the beginning. I think it's a great organization that the rest of the U.S. could use. So can you give us the camps pitch and a little background on the organization?
You betcha. In fact, CAMPS was founded by Tom McLaughlin, and it was my pleasure to know him back in those days when he was starting CAMPS back in 2008. They launched it like just before the big recession in 2008. So this was kind of born in the flames of fire and adversity, and we kind of find ourselves in this pandemic adversity now. And Tom did a fabulous job of bringing the manufacturing community together, building that ecosystem that you and I were talking about, of manufacturers and companies that serve manufacturing. But as a result, during that 2008 downturn, they pulled together and they listened to each other. They learned from each other. They worked, to get funding to help each other survive and to rise above those adverse circumstances. And so camps has continued for the last 12, 13 years. And I came on in 2019, just in time for the pandemic, shortly, this year. And so Tom McLaughlin, he's still an advisor to camps, but, he's a bit of a legend in the this local manufacturing community because of his vision and foresight to bring advanced manufacturing and this technology. I mean, you and I are big fans of technology and helping manufacturers see what's possible, what's up, and what's happening, and so they can get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things I really appreciate with camps too is understanding the supply chain, because
Yeah,
there's so many different suppliers in there that do really unique stuff, right? A lot of it is advanced manufacturing. And
yeah.
so when you're looking for a particular type of technology or supplier with the type of technology to drive your business, I think that's been one of the massive benefits of the camps ecosystem, is knowing kind of who knows what, or if you don't know what, then they'll get you in touch with somebody that does.
In fact, I think connections. I was meeting with a camps member, just such a great guy, but he could attribute quite a bit of his business, more than 20% of his revenues,
Wow.
to direct connections he had made through camps. But he said, even more so, concepts and ideas, best practices, lean,
Yep.
uh, 3D printing, robotics, and they're just like you said. There's somebody who's doing something kind of cool, and it seems like manufacturers are so innovative that they
For
create solutions on the shop floor. So one of the most popular things we do are factory tours.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense, right? So I've been on a few of those tours. The other two pieces before we dive into more in the overall program is you guys have a pretty good relationship with the local technical colleges,
Yes. Oh,
right?
yeah.
And so I think that's something that I'm hearing out in the industry across, North America and globally is this need for talent.
Yes.
You guys have an incredible program with the military.
Yes.
There's a military to manufacturing program. So could you educate us a little bit on those two programs that are very unique for what your organization does compared to other programs I've seen across the country?
Yes, first of all, I have to give a big shout out to Edmonds Community College. It's north of Seattle, and Clover Park Technical College that's south of Seattle. And they've partnered with us and our members. And we have AJAC, who's a fantastic training organization. So these are our educational partners that understand manufacturing. They're bringing top level skills. And what's interesting about Clover Park is they actually built an advanced manufacturing
Yeah.
building and program with fundamentals of manufacturing, but they have mechatronics degree and bachelor's degree, and they're really upping their game in terms of advanced manufacturing skills.
Yeah, I've been privileged to see some of their projects that they do, and it's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. And when you think about how the skill set to try to find, fresh people coming out of college with a skill set that's geared towards our industries is
Yeah.
very difficult, right?
Well, Tom McLaughlin was very, I don't know, a leader again in this realm. Clover Park Technical College was looking to build a fundamentals of manufacturing
Hmm.
program, and so we pulled together CEOs from camps and helped them design the program in terms of the fundamental manufacturing skills that we would like people to walk away with, and that became an 11 credit course, an 11-week course, and well, I think it's 3 credits, 11 weeks. But people walk out of there and they love manufacturing after they get
Yep.
done with it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think that blueprint could be used. I'm on a few industry boards that were talking about the continuous education or the career education side colleges, and I use that Clover Park as, hey, you need to go look what these folks are doing out here. There's an organization called Camps, because we can learn a lot from what they're doing and apply that same strategy over here. So
Yeah.
definitely world class in my opinion. And the military to manufacturing. This is a pretty neat program.
This one is very unique. And again, I have to applaud the genius and foresight of Tom, because this is a little bit different, but we've been working with the military bases here in Washington State for their transitioning military members. And JBLM in particular has been very forward thinking, and they've been created this whole program for helping soldiers who are transitioning out. But what Tom did, which was rather unique, is he took all of the military specialties, or skills, MOS, they have different ratings or whatever they're called, from the Navy and from the Army, and said, we can translate your skills, your professional skills, professional background, translate them into manufacturing jobs. So our unique M2M program, which is now more virtual, so I think it could be accessed by more people now.
Wow.
But what we're doing is we're actually giving them an education about what is advanced manufacturing, not just manufacturing, but advanced manufacturing. And then, the military works with all kinds of,
Yeah.
I don't know, missile systems, communication
Sure.
systems, high-tech stuff. We're meeting some of the coolest people coming out of this program that professionally, they've got all of that professionalism and discipline from the military, but then they've been trained with all these technical,
Yeah.
first-class technical skills. Now we translate that into what you could be doing in manufacturing, and we help them redo the resume. But what we're telling them that is so cool is you don't have to go back to school to get into manufacturing. We can
Yeah.
take your skills and transplant you into manufacturing. And that has been a hit, an absolute hit. We've placed over 500 military members in the last 8-9 years.
Wow. That's incredible.
Manufacturing jobs. Yeah, it's been cool, because now they, instead of starting over a new career, they're actually picking up where they're leaving off, and they're getting higher paying jobs, and they're fitting in, and people really like the culture.
Yeah.
Coming from today's military.
Yeah, I think so. I have recommended 3 or 4 people from my personal network to go through the M2M. And what was interesting was one of them came out of 20 years of service, and they're going and transitioning. 3 of them have been out of service for a number of years. And this is the other unique thing with the M2M is you don't have to just be leaving.
No.
You could have been out, right? You could have been a stay-at-home husband or stay-at-home mom, and now you're going to get back into the workforce. Or maybe you came out and you're not doing something that you wanted to do, and you heard about this program. And what was great about what Tom did with these good friends of mine is some of them went to go work across the country, right?
Yeah.
They would go work at the CDC, or they would go work in Texas, but they started here, and I thought that was so unique. And I think what I heard from each one of my my friends that went through that is they're blown away about how much time was really focused on them to understand their skill sets, what they wanted to do, where their passion was, and then be able to figure out, try to make that transfer function, if you will, from what are they doing to what do they want to do. And it's a phenomenal program that I don't know if every business knew about it, they would be plugged in to try to figure out how to work with it.
Yeah, and I just have to give a shout out to our staff, Stacy, Jody, and Parker. And when you talked about the personalized, so we get a lot of people who come through that go, I didn't think I'd be interested in manufacturing at all. But compared to the other courses and classes they go through for their transition, they said, yeah, this was so personal. You really got to know me. And then, yeah, we really, Jody and Stacy and Parker go the extra mile to really get them connected. And I think that's one thing that you were alluding to. Camps, because of our connections, we're able to introduce them to CEOs, take them to networking events. We help them with an elevator pitch so that they, when we do our virtual events now, at the end of those events, we have them do their little elevator pitch, and people are so impressed, with the quality of these military veterans. And they, like you said, they don't have to be transitioning. They just may be a veteran who's been out for a while, maybe didn't get, the best job, handoff or transition, and we're helping them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have friends that came out of the service and they just wanted to kind of do something for a short period before they figured out what they wanted to do, and now they want to jump back in and really figure what that is. And that M2M program is one of a kind and it is world class. And my recommendation to everyone listening to this is you should definitely just plug into camps for that one program alone.
Yeah,
I'm gonna plug in my battery. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah.
All right, I'm back.
Power. That's important.
Yeah, power. It's always a good thing on these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to kind of switching gears here a little bit. You're obviously involved in the manufacturing community, probably more than anybody.
I get to see a lot of things.
A lot of things.
Very happy about. Yeah.
And we do a lot of Industry 4.0 and IoT stuff, and you and I have talked about it.
Yeah.
What are you seeing? Everything from if it's the cobots to the Industry 4.0 to the initial implementation of machine learning and AI. What are you seeing that's really, the mud, the blood, and the beer, like stuff that's actually happening, not on PowerPoints, but on factory floors?
Yeah.
What's the exciting stuff that you could talk about for people that don't even know what's going on?
This is so exciting. Just to preface this, Industry 4.0 or data-driven decisions, essentially, it's using, machine and computer algorithms to, through sensors to identify, you could talk about quality or cost savings, lean, digital, sometimes we refer to this as digital lean. Camps has been so fortunate to attract leading edge pioneers and innovators like you. You are the leading edge of this. Oh, it's crazy. In fact, Tom will call me once in a while and said, "Hey, did you know what Elevate's doing?" He'll hear from Bill.
Yeah.
And, hey, did you hear this new thing they're doing? And I'm like, oh, this is crazy what these guys are able to do now, right? Yeah. And you're giving so much power into their hands. But when you talk about on the ground, what I'm actually seeing, we did an event and we called it Advantages of a Digital Factory. But we had 3 of our leading pioneers on this Industry 4.0 digital factory, smart factory space come and show what they're actually doing.
Cool.
So I don't know if you know Ben Marsh from Scout Systems.
Yeah, I know Ben. Yeah.
That guy, as from an engineering standpoint, he wanted to kind of put a video game feel to what they're doing, but he actually, because in your case, like Elevate, you guys work with people's machinery, right?
Yep.
And you're revolutionizing, I think, the maintenance and the
the supply chain, the virtual technician, like that's our gig, right?
It's so cool,
Yeah.
And what Ben is doing over at Scout Systems is it's Industry 4.0 for people, which is
very cool,
right? And then we had Zemelgo, and Rich pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And the Zemelgo solution is, I've seen it up close. I've seen it evolve over the last few years. It is phenomenal. It is seamless. It is, if you want to talk about moving a value meter a little bit and getting massive value, that's a pretty cool solution.
When they tell me they're implementing solutions within a couple of hours,
I believe it.
Yeah, and they'll get a CEO will say, "Well, what about this thing? I just thought about this," and they'll pull it out of their hat. I mean, these guys
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
so good. And then we have another member that so impressive. But I don't know if you've met Dr. Zia from Retrocausal. So I don't
I
know
have
if you.
not.
Anyway, he was on this. He was on this panel. So we had these people give their panel, and he just won a big award for his thing. But he came from the Microsoft. Oh, now I'm drawing a blank. He does visual industry 4.0,
Okay.
and he applies it to workers. He actually his technology actually watches workers in action to improve quality, training.
Oh, interesting. So I'm on a manufacturing supply line or I'm on a QA supply line. They're gonna be able to look at it virtually or remotely, like AVR or assisted technicians or whatever
Yes.
the case is. Very cool.
Yeah, he came from top levels of Microsoft, but he started his own business and joined camps right away. It was one of the first things he did starting his company. But but essentially their software, if a person makes a mistake in the sequence of an assembly, it catches it and tells them, and they get all this industry 4.0 data driven information. So
Very cool.
when we talk about Elevate and when we talk about Zemelgo and we talk about
Yep.
Scout Systems and Retrocausal, there is kind of a suite of smart factory, advanced factory applications. I was reading a McKinsey article about the savings that larger companies are finding, and they're saying that with lean practices, traditional lean practices, which are hard. Lean is not natural. You
Yeah,
got to work on it, reinforce it,
yeah,
train.
for sure. You have a lean manager that's managing the behaviors and the whole deal.
Yeah, so it's a tough deal, but larger companies are seeing like 2% cost savings from their
Wow.
activities, right? Which is for a big company that could be very significant.
That's major dollars down to EBITDA for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But they said with digital lean and using these digital technologies, they were seeing up to 6% cost savings.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so
Incredible.
up to triple of the cost savings by utilizing these digital things, which are so much easier than the way we traditionally do lean.
Incredible. Yeah, I think the thing that excites me from we had the pleasure of giving one of the keynotes at camps maybe 4 years ago or something, and it was kind of what is IoT? And I think people might have thought we said IOU, like we had
Yeah,
blank stares too.
yeah,
We're not even talking IoT anymore. We're talking business solutions that are powered by technology. You
yes,
talk about the Zemelgo solution. They have so much technology built now and access to technology that they can pound stuff out very quickly.
yeah,
Same thing with us, same thing with other people. So it's great. What I think is also really cool, and I'm a little bit biased with the Pacific Northwest, is we do have this really interesting ecosystem of the large aerospace
yeah,
manufacturers. We have like Genie's up here, right? The Terex company. You have marine. You have military, and then you have like 77% of the cloud, right?
yeah.
So like AWS and Azure in our backyards.
That's right.
Really, and then you have the one of the largest telcos in Bellevue with T-Mobile. So when you start to look at this, we have a really interesting combination that you can't replicate elsewhere. 4 years ago, 5 years ago in camps, you didn't see too much technology. We were
No,
we were kind of like this weird thing that was showing up inside of the events. That's changed now. Can you kind
yeah,
of talk a little bit about that, about how all these different technology solutions or partners inside the technology stack are starting to show up at camps events
yes.
and what that's done?
Gosh, my goodness. Ben Marsh, a couple of years ago, when he spoke at Camp's event, he just said, "Get on the cloud." He said, "Don't ask any more
Yeah,
questions."
yeah,
He said, "If you're not in the cloud, you're missing out."
for sure.
But again, we got the blank stares, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like, what does that even
What does
mean?
that mean? Yeah,
Yeah, and so now manufacturers, and I'm talking to some really amazing CEOs and leaders of companies who are asking me, where are things going? So I'm doing interviews. For instance, I just did an interview on robotics and automation with a couple of guys, James Dietrich and Marco Marcelletti from
oh yeah,
Consulting.
Yeah.
And so I just put those up on LinkedIn yesterday. But if you want to hear some really cool leading edge stuff and how companies today, like Fresh Consulting, a member of Camps, that are thinking in terms of robotics and automation, how that connects with IoT and the cloud and machine learning. That was a fascinating conversation because these guys work on some pretty leading edge projects, and we talked about the fact that larger companies sometimes have the means, they have the money to experiment with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And we talked about the fact that Tesla had kind of over invested in robots without placing enough value on people, and they had to kind of back that up and go, wait, people have the value, right?
That domain expertise is pretty valuable. What's interesting, you're kind of talking about Tesla. We have in Elevate, we have this one of our services is like a Tesla-like feature for heavy machinery. And
Oh, okay.
so what's kind of cool about it is, the customers we work with build machines or operate heavy machineries outside the factory floor, and they can log in virtually and update the software on those machines.
Okay.
So if they want to add a safety feature, if they want to add a performance feature, they're able to do this. What's kind of neat is we have a partner of ours based out of Denver, and they had a bunch of big material handling trucks all over the Pacific Northwest, Seattle and Alaska and stuff. And they wanted to update the software program on all those controllers.
Oh, okay.
So pre-IoT, the way this would happen is you would fly someone out there, they would take their laptop and a software dongle, and they would plug it into the machine, and they upload it, and they move to the next one, move to the next one. They were able to upload that fleet of machines across the Pacific Northwest from Denver within a few minutes.
Oh, that's crazy.
When you think about that, right?
That's insane.
It's insane. And the cool thing is that technology has a lot. So we in that technology stack, we're using AWS stuff, we're using Azure stuff, but they're the domain experts. They know what they need to do with it. They know the machines, their customers know the machines, but they're able to do this now. And it's pretty cool when you see that happen in real life.
Well, you talked about Azure and AWS. I'm noticing more and more with your type of services and Zimelgo things that they're doing is that they're platform agnostic.
Yeah.
So they can plug into your ERP system and they can, plug in. I mean, so you don't have to spend a lot of money trying to update to something very specialized. It's like, what are you using? And we'll make it work.
Absolutely. And what we've seen out there is, 3 or 4 years ago, to your comment to the cloud, we would tell people we were a cloud service, and there would be a lot of questions from IT, right? Yeah. There's all these security concerns and all these things. What we've seen happen inside the industry now is that's no longer the case. Send us your security docs, send us your APIs, let's check the box, and we're good to go. And let's go solve the business problem. That's what's pretty exciting with manufacturing is we're no longer getting tied down the weeds of the cloud and IT stack. We're actually saying, what's the business problem we're solving? And as long as you meet these things from our IT requirement, we're good to go. Let's roll.
Yeah. It's becoming easier. It's becoming more accessible. It's becoming more affordable. I mean, I'm speaking about 100 years ago, but I remember when calculators used to cost a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
First came out, and they were so expensive, and then they got less expensive. And memory for computers used to be so expensive and bulky, and became smaller, easier, more accessible. So we live in an amazing world, and I think CEOs, executives, and business owners, they have to think and live in terms of the future, because we're such a globally competitive world.
For sure, absolutely, globally competitive, and I think COVID is going to fundamentally shift how we work and collaborate and communicate. Mm-hmm. Right, the next
already is
for the next long time, and I'm okay with however that shakes out. But I think it's also given us a very interesting opportunity for manufacturing to think differently than they've done before in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
To collaborate differently. Right. Yeah. To the whole deal. Okay, so what are some of the things you guys are doing? Let's just say virtually. Some of the conferences you're going to be setting up as we come out of this COVID situation.
Right.
What are the things that people don't know about camps they should start to get involved in? How can they come check it out? How can they come experience it for the first time? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Well, and I recognize that your audience may be outside of the state of Washington, and our original charter was to work and serve and strengthen Washington state manufacturers.
Right.
However, COVID has really opened this up now, and so a lot of our activities that we're doing now online and doing virtual, I'm noticing, by the way, that manufacturers are being very careful about who goes into their businesses.
Yes.
Being extra safe, super safe, and we invited a manufacturer to a lunch, and she had to really think about, do I really want to go out? Do I really want to meet? Could we do this better virtually? And she said, I just don't want to do anything that would create a safety problem. So I think you're right about, the ways this is going to change us, and we're going to do a lot more of these kind of things. But Camps is doing some really cool things, and one of them is virtual tours.
Very cool.
So this is an opportunity, if you tune into
I geek out on those things, right? To do a virtual tour of a factory. I mean, I definitely geek out on. That's so cool.
Okay, yeah, we just did a virtual tour of they create circuit boards out of the box manufacturing.
Oh yeah, that's a great company. Remember
Yeah.
when they first started, and man, they are rocking and rolling.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the CEO of Out of the Box, Allison Budvarson, because she was just elected the president of the Camps board.
Oh, congratulations! That's fantastic. Very cool.
And so we have a very diverse board, and we're very proud of our board. And these are leaders who are thinking of better and better ways to serve the community, which is another good reason to take a look at Camps because of who's involved on the board level. But yeah, when you get to do these tours now, Mid Mountain Materials was another tour that we did that surprised us because they do some really cool things with technology. But the CEO who was taking us through this, John, he shared some pretty cool thinking. There was some thinking that pushes the boundaries, and they were doing stuff with chemistry that you can't find in a textbook anywhere. The engineers and his chemists would say this isn't possible because there's certain laws of thermodynamics. He said, just give it a shot. Let's. He said, I'll stand over here while you blow up. But it was hilarious. But to see the innovation, the automation, and the Industry 4.0 solutions that these manufacturers are bringing to light. So we're very excited every month to be doing a virtual tour. We also do some topics. But we like to hear from the manufacturers. So these topics are not just, like you said, they're not PowerPoint presentations, and they're not theories. These are what people are actually doing. And so I think it's actually very valuable from that. And you hear little things, and I think the people who've been in manufacturing a long time hear things that maybe other people wouldn't hear because they've been there and done that, and they're listening to somebody who's been there doing that.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and I think when stuff opens up again, I think just the cocktail hours that you all put on are really cool, where they're more relaxed, and you can get to meet people, and there's people from the M2M program, there's people from Clover Technical College and Edmonds College there. Those have always been really good. I think the annual conferences have been great as well, right? Then in the awards and everything, and it's one of these organizations that I think it used to be, it was smaller 8 years ago, so people didn't know it as much. Now people know Camps. I was just talking to a buddy of mine in Portland that's joining it from one of the large telcos, and they're going to join, and he's excited about it and the whole deal, and that's pretty cool to see that.
No kidding. And I want to share two other quick events that people might be interested in. We've started doing these on a monthly basis, but we have some really amazing people on the board who have taken on this opportunity to do an ERP working group.
Oh, nice.
So ERP is just one of the toughest. I don't know why. Just the whole management setup and maintenance of an ERP system is tough. So we've got an ERP working group. Dan Kosher from Kosher Consulting and Engineering is running that. And this is, him and his team know so much about it. So companies who have been experiencing ERP pain are finding really great solutions in this monthly group.
Every company?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a ERP is quite a story, right?
Yeah, what's interesting is a lot of our partners, a lot of them, I'd say about a third of them now have upgraded or even switched their ERPs in the last few years
Yes.
because of the new way of doing business. They had something, a way their company was built 20, 25 years
Yeah.
ago. And now they're inherently, if they're in the distribution business, they're starting to add more value added services and more technology services, and that's requiring them to look at their ERPs differently. So
Yes.
that's a, I think that's a super valuable class to have because it's not, well, we've always done it this way now. Now they're thinking, well, we're kind of moving from factory floors to intelligent factory floors in a
That's right.
rapid, in a connected ecosystem. The
Yeah,
whole supply.
exactly. The whole supply chain. Yeah. No, you're
Really
right.
cool.
The other group we're doing, and we may come up with some more, but this is the one for now, is a marketing and sales
Nice.
um, uh, a working group. And so these are for people who are in marketing and sales in manufacturing. And it's being led by Carol Bladen from Impact Washington. She's
Oh,
an
nice.
amazing, amazing marketing person. But having these discussions with these people who are out there every day, having to cope with the changes that have occurred. We don't go to conferences now, and things have changed dramatically. So they're talking to each other about solutions to their sales and marketing problems. Plus, they're networking, right? And
Yeah.
people know people. It's a small world. So those two things have been really exciting. And
And those are gonna be like virtual workshops
yeah,
or
those are virtual workshops that are available online. People can register, and at this point, we're not excluding anybody. We just ask that it be, manufacturing related.
yep, very
And
cool.
but those are available on our website. And the one thing we didn't talk about yet is been really big for camps members, very helpful to them, is our camps health trust.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, this is huge. This is really good. So talk about this because I think this is a massive hidden gem.
Yes, Tom McLaughlin, with a lot of foresight, said, hey, manufacturers really do need to be able to compete, with their skilled workers. They have to be able to offer benefits that will compete with some of the larger companies, but even at a better price. So he did a lot of talking. He talked to different groups who offer these group healthcare plans, and came across a great company, Capital Benefit Services. And so Jonathan, the CEO, he's on our board now, just joined our board, but he's got an incredible background, and his team are so great at offering these group health benefits. And so our companies are saving a lot of money on because of the group rate discount. They're saving money on their health benefits, but they're attracting better employees, and they're keeping their good employees.
Yeah,
So
I've heard from a number of people that this has been fantastic, just from the business operation standpoint of being able to get a lower cost of insurance and better insurance.
right,
It's been a massive win for the
yeah.
manufacturing community. That's a really big deal. That alone should get manufacturers excited about looking at camps because it's a big deal.
No, it's been really great for the ecosystem, and that's one thing that you and I have talked about is the fact that I think manufacturers are learning that they grow faster and they grow better together.
Absolutely.
I think I think isolation is a problem, and it's easy to happen in manufacturing because you get doing your thing and
Yeah.
talking to your people,
Inside
and
your walls in your
yeah,
supply chain and that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah,
think the ecosystem's huge, and I think people do move around in their careers, and it's good to know people that are going outside the path. I also know camps companies where they've had some good team members that want to kind of move on, and they've
hmm,
recommended them to other camps companies and
yes,
or suppliers where one company is using a certain supplier and they brought in.
yes,
I know when customers that are outside the Pacific Northwest are coming in to do business with the company in Pacific Northwest, they're introducing them to other camps, people that are part of that supply chain from the network piece.
yeah.
So I've been part of those conversations. So it's it's a hidden gem. I don't know if it's hidden too much anymore. I think it's kind of
We're
making
trying to,
news when I'm
well,
talking to people in Portland and they're about ready to join it and everything. But
yeah.
but a lot of people, I think a lot of people can still discover it.
Well, I think because of this podcast, this video, Zoom call today, maybe more people will discover it. Thanks to you, and I have to thank you for taking the time to talk to us about camps and its programs, and it keeps getting better because of who is in camps.
Yeah.
You know, to have Elevate and to have you, you know, in
Thank you.
camps, and we've got two of your, I guess, owners or partners
Yeah.
as camps board members.
Yep.
And I mean, to me, that just speaks volumes in terms of the quality, the innovation, the forward thinking that's happening at the highest levels of manufacturing and at the highest levels of camps.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So we love being part of it. Well, Kirk, thanks so much for the time. This was great. I'm hoping it reaches some people that go, hey, we want to see what camps is all about. And I hope it inspires some places in other parts of the country that might reach out to you and find out, hey, how can we start to do something over here together? Because you guys have a pretty interesting playbook, and we'd like to really bring this into the DNA of our manufacturing communities.
Yeah, there's a world of opportunity, and Adam, I really appreciate you making this time today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.